Please help me with some money to buy bread. I'm so hungry. Lin paused, her eyes reflecting a hint of surprise. She looked at Mr. Hien from head to toe, seemingly assessing the situation. However, within a moment, her puzzled expression disappeared, and Lin quickly regained her composure. Please wait a moment, she said gently but decisively. At that moment, one of Lin's colleagues passed by, overheard their conversation, and expressed annoyance. The colleague shook their head, muttering just loudly enough for both Lin and Mr. Hien to hear, "There are so many beggars. How can we help all of them?" It was an evening at a bustling corner of Hanoi. The streets were crowded with people hurrying about under the fading sunlight. The sound of car horns and street vendors shouting their wares blended into the lively atmosphere. On the side of the road stood Mr. Hien, a man over 60 years old, dressed like a beggar. His faded shirt, worn-out pants, old sandals, and a tattered hat made him look like someone lost in the luxurious city life. In his hand, he held a wooden cane, his body trembling slightly. His limping walk would convince anyone passing by that he was destitute. But Mr. Hien was not truly a beggar. He was a successful businessman who owned one of the largest chains of resorts and hotels in Quang Ninh, valued at billions of dong. He was also a dedicated father who deeply cared for his family's happiness, particularly that of his only son. Recently, Min, his son, introduced his girlfriend, Lin, a fashion store employee, to the family. According to Min, Lin was intelligent, independent, and kind-hearted, with a modest background. However, with his experience, Mr. Hien still harbored concerns. He wanted to ensure that Lin was not someone interested in exploiting his son or family's wealth. To verify this, he devised a plan to test her character. After waiting for over an hour, Mr. Hien finally saw Lin exiting the fashion store nearby. She was petite, dressed simply yet neatly. Her face lit up with a bright smile as she chatted with a colleague. Gripping his cane tightly, Mr. Hien took a deep breath and walked toward her. In his eyes was a mix of scrutiny and nervousness. When Lin approached, Mr. Hien hunched slightly and stretched out his hand, his voice trembling with desperation. Please help me with some money to buy bread. I'm so hungry. Lin stopped, her eyes briefly showing surprise. She looked him over, evaluating the situation. But within moments, her initial hesitation faded, and she calmly replied, "Please wait here for a moment." Her voice was gentle but firm. Just then, a colleague walking past overheard their exchange and commented irritably, "There are too many beggars nowadays. You can't help all of them." Lin didn't respond to her colleague, offering only a faint smile before turning back to Mr. Hien. She reached into her bag and took out some small bills. "Here you go, sir. Please use this to get something to eat," she said sincerely. Mr. Hien silently observed her actions, feeling a surge of emotion. However, to test her further, he deliberately let one of the bills slip from his hand. The money fell to the ground. Lin noticed immediately, quickly bent down to pick it up, and gently placed it back in his hand. "Please hold on to this carefully," she said patiently. "Don't drop it again." Mr. Hien gazed at her deeply. He was surprised by the calm and kind demeanor she exhibited. To him, this wasn't an act anyone could easily fake. Still, he decided to extend the test. As Lin began to walk away, Mr. Hien smiled faintly, a flicker of hope igniting in his heart. But he reminded himself that a single action wasn't enough to judge a person. He needed to observe more. After receiving the money, Mr. Hien didn't leave immediately. He decided to escalate the challenge by pretending to feel dizzy. He staggered, gripping his cane tightly, his body swaying as if he were about to collapse. Though Lin had already walked a few steps away, she quickly turned back at the sound of his unsteady movements. "Are you okay, sir? Do you need help?" she asked, her voice filled with concern. Mr. Hien weakly nodded and, feigning a hoarse voice, replied, "I feel dizzy, probably because I'm too hungry." Lin observed him for a moment before speaking decisively. "Please sit down and rest for a moment. Let me take you to a nearby clinic to get checked." Mr. Hien shook his head, still pretending to be frail. No, that won't be necessary. I just need to rest a little. I don't want to trouble you any further. But Lynn wouldn't let him stay on the roadside. She glanced around and spotted a small pho shop nearby. Supporting him, she said, "Let me take you there to eat something warm." "It's on me." Reluctantly, Mr. Hien let her help him into the shop. The place wasn't large, but it was clean, with neatly arranged wooden tables. After helping him sit down, Lynn quickly ordered a steaming bowl of pho. When it arrived, she carefully placed it before him and said gently, "Please eat to warm up. I'll stay here. If you need anything, just let me know." Mr. Hien looked at her, a sense of warmth filling his heart at her kindness. But he decided to push the test further, lowering his voice to a hesitant tone. "Miss, I don't have money to pay for this bowl of pho. I only have a few coins." Lynn smiled and shook her head. "It's okay. Please eat. I'll pay for it. Eating is more important." Without hesitation or annoyance, Lynn took out her wallet to pay for his meal. When she opened it, Mr. Hien noticed that she had very little money left, barely enough to buy herself dinner. Yet she still willingly spent that small amount to help him. While Mr. Hien ate, Lynn sat nearby, watching over him with genuine concern. Softly, she asked, "Do you have a home or any family? If you'd like, I can help you contact someone." Mr. Hien pretended to look sad and replied, "I live alone. I don't have any relatives. I just wander around every day, trying to find enough to eat." "You've already been so kind to me, and I'm deeply grateful." Hearing this, Lynn's face showed a hint of sadness, but she said nothing further. She simply stayed and waited for him to finish his meal. In the meantime, a few people in the shop began whispering. A man at the next table shook his head and said to his companion, "Why bother helping? Most beggars these days fake being poor just to scam people." Another person chimed in, "Exactly. You can't tell who's genuine and who's not these days. That girl is too naive." Lynn heard the comments but ignored them. She focused on ensuring Mr. Hien was okay, unaffected by the negativity around her. Mr. Hien, deliberately taking his time to eat, continued observing Lynn. Her calm and patient attitude impressed him more and more. She remained unshaken by the gossip and showed no irritation or impatience, even though she was helping a complete stranger. When Mr. Hien finally finished his meal, Lynn stood up, paid for it, and returned to him. "Do you feel better now? If you need, I can help you find a place to stay for the night," she offered. Mr. Hien shook his head, his eyes reflecting deep thought. Through her actions, he had already seen her genuine kindness and sincerity. However, he decided to prolong the test to confirm his judgment. After finishing the meal, he set the bowl down and looked at Lynn with gratitude. Still, he maintained a probing tone. "You're very kind. But have you ever wondered why you should help a stranger like me?" Lynn was surprised by the question, but smiled as she replied, "Sir, helping others is the right thing to do. I believe everyone has times of difficulty. If I can help today, why shouldn't I? Who knows, maybe someday I'll need help too." Her simple answer caught Mr. Hien off guard. He nodded thoughtfully but decided to test her further. "You're a good person, but let me tell you a story. Let's see if you'd still be willing to help." He sighed dramatically and began fabricating a story. "I used to live in the countryside. I brought all my life savings to the city for medical treatment, but unfortunately, I lost everything when I got off the bus. Now, I have no idea how to return home or get treatment. What do you think I should do?" Hearing his story, Lynn fell silent for a few seconds, her eyes reflecting confusion. But she quickly regained her composure. "Sir, I don't have much money, but if you're in trouble, I can help a little. Health is the most important thing. You need to get treated first." Without hesitation, Lynn opened her wallet. With a gentle gesture, Lynn took the remaining money from her wallet and placed it lightly into Mr. Hien's hand. "Please take this for now," she said. "I know it's not much, but I hope it will help you in some way. When you're in a better position, you can return it if you'd like. But the most important thing is for you to take care of your health first." Mr. Hien accepted the money with trembling hands, his emotions indescribable. Lin's sincere actions demonstrated not only her kindness, but her willingness to sacrifice for others, even when she herself was not well off. Around her, a few people in the cafe watched the scene unfold. Some nodded in admiration, while others whispered cynically, "That girl is so naive. Who knows if that old man is truly poor?" However, Lin paid no attention to those words. She looked at Mr. Hien with genuine concern in her eyes. "If you need any further help, please let me know," she said softly. "I'll do my best." Mr. Hien sat silently for a moment, clutching the money Lin had given him. Finally, he raised his head, his voice hoarse. "Young lady, I am truly grateful for your kindness, but I have to ask, why are you so willing to help a stranger like me? Aren't you afraid that I might be deceiving you?" Lin smiled gently. "Sir, I don't overthink such things. If someone genuinely needs help and I refuse, I think I would regret it for the rest of my life. Moreover, I believe you are a good person. Nobody would fake hardship to the point of sitting here, enduring the cold and hunger, just for a ruse." Her response left Mr. Hien speechless. This wasn't just kindness, it was trust and compassion. For the first time, he believed that this young woman might truly be worthy of becoming the daughter-in-law of a wealthy family like his. But he wasn't ready to conclude just yet. He wanted to test her patience and goodness further. After a moment of thought, Mr. Hien gently held Lin's hand, his eyes full of gratitude. "You're truly a good person," he said. "Thank you so much. I promise, if given the chance, I will repay this favor." Lin simply shook her head and smiled. "Don't worry too much about it, sir. Helping others is the right thing to do." Mr. Hien sat quietly, observing Lin with thoughtful eyes. In his heart, he felt reassured, but he decided to proceed with his final test to confirm her character. The next day, Lin received a call from Min, her boyfriend. His voice was cheerful. "Lin, my parents want to meet you tonight at Royal Restaurant to discuss our wedding plans. Can you make it?" Feeling a mix of excitement and nervousness, Lin chose a modest yet elegant dress, applied light makeup, and headed to the luxurious restaurant. Upon entering, she scanned the room and quickly spotted Min sitting with a middle-aged couple who radiated both authority and warmth. Min stood up and waved to her, smiling brightly. "Lin, come over here," he said. "I want you to meet my parents." Lin approached them and bowed politely in greeting. However, the moment her eyes met the older man's, her heart froze. He was the same beggar she had helped the day before. She stood there, stunned and speechless. Mr. Hien, now dressed in an impeccable suit with an air of dignity, smiled warmly at her. "Do you recognize me?" he asked. "I'm the beggar you helped yesterday." Lin's face turned red with embarrassment as she quickly bowed again. I'm sorry. I didn't realize." Mr. Hien raised his hand gently to stop her. "No need to apologize," he said. "I deliberately made sure you wouldn't recognize me. In truth, I did it to test you. Min is my only son, and I needed to be certain that he has chosen the right person. Thank you for showing me that his future wife is someone kind-hearted and compassionate." Lin's face flushed as she struggled to process this revelation. She stammered, I never imagined you were Min's father. I don't even know what to say." Mr. Hien chuckled, his eyes filled with warmth. "There's no need to say anything, Lin. Your actions yesterday spoke louder than words. You didn't just help me, you did so with a sincere heart, without concern for conditions or circumstances. That is what reassures me that Min has made the right choice." Sitting beside her, Min took her hand firmly, his eyes brimming with pride. "See, Dad? I told you, Lin is the kindest person I've ever met. She's not just my girlfriend, she's the one I want to protect and love for the rest of my life." Mrs. Hien, Min's mother, smiled gently. "Lin, dear, don't be nervous. When I heard the story yesterday, I was deeply moved. Our family needs someone like you, someone genuine and compassionate." Feeling a weight lifted off her shoulders, Lin looked at Min and his family with teary eyes. "Thank you so much. I only did what I thought was right. I didn't expect it to mean so much to you." Mr. Hien stood up, placing a reassuring hand on Lin's shoulder. It's important, Lynn. My son is lucky to have found you, just as I was lucky to marry someone as kind-hearted as his mother, who helped build everything we have today. Yesterday, you didn't just help me, you also defended my dignity in the face of others' judgments. A daughter-in-law like you is more than I could have hoped for. Everyone at the table smiled, laughter filling the room. Min gazed at Lynn lovingly. You see? My parents have already accepted you. From now on, we'll build a happy family together. The evening concluded with the entire family enjoying dinner at one of the restaurants in their business chain. After the meal, Mr. Hien invited Lynn to stay back for a private conversation. His voice was gentle yet filled with conviction. Lynn, thank you for proving to me that you are worthy of being Min's wife. From today, I accept you as a daughter-in-law of this family. All that we've built will eventually be entrusted to the two of you. I know you not only love Min, but also possess a rare, kind heart. Tearing up, Lynn bowed her head. Thank you, sir. I truly don't know what to say except that I'm deeply grateful. I only try to do what's right, and I genuinely love Min. Mr. Hien smiled. Before, I worried if Min had chosen the right person. But now, I have no doubts. Your smallest actions have shown me that you are someone kind, compassionate, and trustworthy, the most important qualities in marriage. Turning to Min, his voice grew firm yet affectionate. Min, from now on, you must cherish Lynn, love her, and care for her as she has shown love and kindness to others. I believe you've found a worthy life partner, just as I did. Min nodded, holding Lynn's hand tightly. Don't worry, Dad. I'll never let Lynn feel sad or disappointed. I'm so proud to have her by my side. Mr. Hien continued, his tone serious yet encouraging. Lynn, I know you love Min, but I want you to think about yourself too. If you wish, I'm ready to support you in furthering your education or career. Our family doesn't just need a kind daughter-in-law. We want you to feel confident, knowledgeable, and fulfilled in life. Moved to tears, Lynn responded, Thank you, sir. I'll strive to live up to your trust and Min's love. As Lynn and Min prepared to leave, Mr. Hien's parting words lingered in their hearts. Helping others is a precious act. Lynn, thank you for reminding me that kindness still exists in this world. Min, remember, a happy family must be built on respect, love, and compassion. Lynn and Min's wedding was a grand celebration attended by many guests. During the ceremony, Mr. Hien joked, If Min ever makes you upset, just tell me. I'll disguise myself as a thug and take care of him. The entire hall erupted in laughter, the atmosphere brimming with joy. The story concluded with a valuable message. Kindness and sincerity bring people closer together and form the foundation of strong relationships. Never judge others based on appearances or material wealth. Sometimes, challenges don't break a relationship, but instead affirm its true value. Lynn and Min embarked on their married life with trust and love, while Mr. Hien smiled with contentment, knowing his son had found a worthy partner.